everybody. I'm Cameron.
I'm Zach.
I know everything.
I'm learning.
You are. And this is the Watching You Watch podcast. Woo!
Yup.
So, here it is. Episode 3 of Season 2 of Game of Thrones. 4. Sorry, 4.
We weren't paid to count on this podcast.
I know, we really aren't. I'm just so excited for Game of Thrones, Zach. I couldn't, my counting muscles went away. Is that a thing?
Yes.
So, like Zach corrected me, this is episode 4 of season 2 of Game of Thrones, entitled Garden of Bones. Fun episode all around.
Yes,
so
lots of people.
I want to jump right into it, but I have to say this first, as I usually say. If this is your first time watching this, this is the Watching You Watch podcast, where we recap shows with the special theme that one of us, me this time.
He's pointing at himself. It's not good radio.
Yes, it's not good radio. Have seen the show before, and the other of us, Zach over here.
I'm pointing at myself. It's bad radio.
Hasn't. So I kind of ask him leading, tantalizing questions after we watch one episode at a time.
He makes me more terrified to watch the show than I normally would otherwise.
And we do this all for your benefit.
Yeah, not mine. My heart is broken.
Yeah, we like to toy with Zach's heartstrings a little bit.
They're so out of tune and sad.
So here we are in Game of Thrones Season 2. I know a lot of you who are probably big Game of Thrones fans are getting real psyched up for the new season of Game of Thrones. We're starting to get some information leaking out. Zach is
I need to put my head in a hole.
Yeah, he's avoiding the internet like
a plague.
Yeah.
But I do good in the Tumblr. I can't help it. Don't you dare put something on the Tumblr.
Yeah, please don't spoil him.
I have kept myself
We're taking
pure.
it slow. We're taking it very slow.
I have my Game of Thrones purity ring, and I am not giving it up.
You know, there's just all sorts of horrible ways this metaphor could go. I just don't know if we should continue or not.
Whoops.
So anyway, we're in season 2. Zach, you've been enjoying it so far.
Yes.
This episode we watched episode 4. It's entitled Garden of Bones.
There were a lot of bones.
I don't know. There were a lot of interesting things happening in it, though, so why don't you give us a brief recap of what happened?
Yeah, my heartstrings are pulled very taut. It's one of those sort of like, look at all the things that are happening episodes, and then there's like, okay, and then the episode is done. It's like, all right. So, start of the episode, we have 2 guards just making fart jokes and getting killed by dire wolves.
Classy stuff.
Yeah, classy stuff. They're doing good. They're good job as guards. This is what our tax gold goes to. So
thanks, Obama.
Thanks. Thanks, Joffrey. But let's see. So oh crap. I'm losing track of my Starks again.
Robb Stark?
Robbers is doing the war things, and he meets like battle nurse lady, and she's like, yeah, you're kind of, war is terrible and I don't like you. And he's like, but you're pretty. And she's like, get out of here. And he's like, yep, I like it. And so we go on to I won't be able to keep this in order anymore. I'll just go to things. So basically we'll go to the things that matter, i.e. dragons and Daenerys. And she's leading her small dwindling horde of Dothrakis.
It's very dwindling.
Qarth, not Kwarth.
Yeah, Qarth, not Kwarth.
And they go a place that has surprisingly less bones than I was expecting.
Yeah, they're like, it's called the Garden of Bones.
Because if you don't get in, you're dead. Because everyone that sits out there just like cries until they die because they get into Qarth, which is like the most happened place over in Dothraki land.
Apparently.
I don't know. It's a big old deal. And big old guy who says he has too big of a name to say is like, oh, welcome, I'm a merchant, and these are my 13 compatriots, and we own this place. Do you want in? You have to show me your dragons.
And Daenerys is like, no. And he's like, okay, bye.
It's like, if you don't show me your dragons, you're not getting in. And she's like, listen, I will burn you with fire first.
And then they're like, ooh, you are a zesty one.
And they go to leave, and then other man that's like privy to their cause, like Dos couscous or something. I don't know.
Couscous.
It was something that was similar and repeated. I'm terrible at names.
I love this.
And
This gets me every time.
I was gonna call him Dextrous Couscous.
Dextrous Couscous?
There's a D in there. And forget it. I'm not gonna entertain this. Forget names. They're all getting code names.
Dextrous Couscous.
And he's like, I'll let her in. She's cool. I'll cut my hand. Oh, okay, fine. And so they get in, and they're gonna live, and the dragons are gonna be okay, and that's what matters. Okay, but moral of the story is also over in other weird Lannister stronghold McMouse torture place. They caught goodness.
Arya.
Yeah.
How could you forget Arya? She's like your Stark of the Week always.
Listen, my brain is not working at 100%. And another Robert Bastard child. So they're torturing people for the information they can get from them and then just like straight up murdering them. And Robert's Bastard child is about to get like Mickey Moused, and then the big old Don Lannister Tywin comes in and is like, oh, you're killing people here just like one every day for like no information? Well, that is a complete waste of human resources. This guy's a blacksmith. He's going to do smithing stuff for us because we're at war.
And everyone's like, what? The peasants do stuff?
Yeah. Once again, we see the fine training of the Lannister guards. And also, something that I noted, they all have predator masks. They all just sort of like flay out like...
He's like waving his hands around his mouth right now. I'm assuming that's him trying to be Predator.
Once again, fantastic radio.
Fantastic radio, guys.
And basically... saves Arya. He's like, does everyone know that's a girl? And everyone's like, what?
Yeah, Tywin's like, that
like,
boy is a girl.
And they're like, how can boys be girls? And he goes, listen, I'm Tywin Lannister. She's going to be my cupbearer. And
then he's like, why are you dressed up as a boy? And then she's like, it's safer to travel. And then he's like smart.
Smarter than all of you fools. And they're like, darn it.
Yeah, basically.
You can't come back from that.
You really can't.
And, okay, what else happened? Oh, yes. King's Landing. Things are getting real saucy with...
Always.
Oh, my goodness. So, Joffrey's being a big old butt nugget, and he's having all these weird, like, beating the crap out of people fetishes. So, he's beating Sansa in front of everyone, and good old pimp daddy Imp comes in, and he's like, no, honey. This is not how you treat your queen. Yeah, are you stupid?
Tyrion's not having any of this.
Yeah, Pimp Daddy Imp, baby. And he takes care of that. And also, we get to see weird Lannister cousin.
Lancel Lannister.
Lancel.
Previously, Robert's cupbearer from season 1.
Yeah, he's just as oblivious, but now he's a knight and he's oblivious, which is fantastic for Tyrion, because now he's going to use him to basically spy on Cersei all the time. All the time, all day, every day. It's gonna be great.
So what's happening with Camp
Renly and Stannis? Well, basically, Littlefinger McBaelish face gets over there and is like,
McBaelish
hey,
face.
We're gonna do deals and stuff. And how you doing, Margarine? And she's like, fantastic. Just, I can't believe I'm not butter. And he's like, well, why aren't you having babies? And she's like, why aren't you not a sleaze?
She's like, why aren't you married?
Burn! Because Eddard Stark, whoa! And evidently he brought, Eddard Stark's remain for Catelyn because his plan is like, wait, I love you. And she's like, get the heck out of here. I have a knife. And he's like, but I brought you your husband. She's like, seriously, get out of here. We're tired of your shenanigans.
But it's important to note that he is sort of...
No. The important thing to note is that he says that he is in control of both of her daughters, when in fact he is, maybe 1/4 in control of one.
Basically. And he also sort of makes the insinuation that, Catelyn could take the whole Jaime situation into her own hands and make a trade.
And do it behind, Rob's back. And so he's just being I don't know, he's working all the weird angles. Everyone's just trying to get theirs. And Stannis and Renly have, this big old, sibling brawl where they're like, you can't be a good king. You can't be a good king. I hate you. I hate you. Catelyn's like, get along. And they're like, no, we're going to kill each other tomorrow. And then they leave.
Yeah, they're like, okay, bye.
It's like, I used to love him. And the insinuation being you don't.
That I used to know. That was okay. I'm sorry. That was really lame.
War sucks. Killing brothers stuff. Anyways, so I'm tired and also there a shadow demon baby thing.
Also that.
just sort of tag that.
It's
at the
just
end.
sort of there.
Well, that's kind of what they did. They're just like, hey, surprise, she's like
pregnant.
She's like super pregnant. It's like, well,
even though that only happened like
she
an
just
episode ago.
Yeah, she just pressed
ago?
like the easy button, and it's like babies, and also they're like shadow demon evil babies.
Yep.
Because shadows come from the light or whatever. Because she's white. I don't know. I don't get this religion. It's just odd, and I don't like it.
Well, we'll talk about that a little bit in this episode.
I know, because it's kind of, I don't know, there's just a lot of things that are happening. I'm sort of terrified because people are going to places that are progressively worse and worse for them. The only one who seems to be coming out okay is Tyrion.
For how long?
Well, yeah, once again, he has a lot of up and down swings, but he's on a pretty good upswing.
Yeah,
and I like it.
So let's
and Joffrey makes Rose beat another one of her people to death.
That scene is so wrong on so many levels.
I don't even know, man.
It's just so wrong.
Joffrey just needs to get a constructive hobby, like crocheting.
I just
not crossbowing.
Yeah, I just think that if he was like crocheting, like he would just like crochet the most like vile things, a little cozy for his like rods to beat people with, or his crossbow.
Crossbow cozy.
Yeah, I just it'd be so wrong.
It would be so sad.
Well, anyway, let's go ahead and just kind of unpack this episode a little bit, and I want to kind of dial back to the beginning of the episode. A little bit. So the show sort of opens up this time with us seeing a successful Robb winning a battle.
Yeah.
So that's kind of great.
He's just wrecking face.
It seems to everything that he applies himself to, he wins. Except for nurses. And this is what I want to talk about. What were your first impressions of her? Her name is Talissa.
Tavel something or another.
Talissa.
Oh, okay. Fine.
Or Talisa. It really depends on who's saying it and when. But she's an interesting character, and I wanted your opinion of her.
I really very much like her. I can sympathize with her being sort of like medical. I feel like I'd have a very similar stance to the thing, because war is bad on whatever side you're on. It's like, well, oh, good job, you helped.
Yeah, they like immediately assume that she's like a Lannister doctor, and then she's just like, no, I'm here helping.
I'm just here helping. Everything here is terrible, and I don't want to see anyone be hurt. But you're making a war, and good job. You don't even have like a 5-year plan of what will happen after the war.
Yeah, that was one of the best scenes I think from her, is that she immediately is like, oh, like, so you're gonna be king when this is all over? And he's like, no, I don't want to be king. And then she's like, well, then who will be?
And he's like, I don't know,
And then she gives him the like, okay, good plan look.
It's like, wow, this is who we're following. Good job, guys.
Yep. And I just love how like unafraid she is to say that, like right to his face right there. Like she just sawed off a guy's leg, and then she's insulting this king.
No, I feel it's pretty appropriate. I would do something very similar, if not take the saw to him and be like, listen, this is dumb.
And yet, like, you can't help but feel like Robb is still justified, even when he goes in, he's winning, but he doesn't really have a plan, you know?
That's the crazy thing about life. Two people can be right simultaneously.
I need that in, like, italics quotes on top of, like, a Zen picture of, like,
someone with a bone saw.
Or, no.
No, it needs to be on the blood of the bone saw. This is how I make my relaxation posters.
Oh, gosh.
I'm also going to make the sign for the next Saw movie.
Please no.
Saw 8. We're running out of fingers. Just wait till they have to get their toes.
Yeah.
Or just like whole body parts. It's going to be great. Saw 5000D. We're at 24 and we had to start cutting off nipples.
Okay, that got dark really fast.
Listen. Okay. But the lights are the shadow of the dark or whatever.
Yeah, we're not even gonna touch that one yet.
I can't recover.
No, you can't. Let's go ahead and move on then to Stannis and Renly. That seems to be another big focus of this episode.
Yeah.
It seems to be in this episode that things are coming to a head between them. That war is sort of inevitable. You know, Catelyn, when she went there, was kind of trying to maybe see if we could align the Starks and Renly's side together, but
to fight a common Lannister goal. But Stannis is sticking to his guns of, if you're not giving me the throne, you're my enemy.
Right, which is complicated because, like, Eddard's letter went to Stannis saying Stannis is the rightful king by the line of succession. Yeah, so...
Yeah, and it's funny because he pulls the Eddard card seeing Catelyn there and everything, and just... He has every right to say what he's saying.
Right. So my question for you is, since it appears that there is an impasse between these two, which do you think is going to win between these two brothers?
I honestly see, I don't know, Renly does have some, like, very loyal troops, some decently well-trained troops, but Stannis's are willing to, like, do the dirty things, like, do the real, true war things to win.
Are we talking about,
like, make shadow babies? And
yeah, I was just about to say, are we talking about a specific priestess?
Not just that, but, like, Stannis would be the person that would, you know, hunt down everyone and kill them. He wouldn't take prisoners. He would, I don't know, he seems to be just, like, the very intensely war-minded person.
Yeah, I agree.
Renly's like the peacetime king. Like, he would be fantastic if the country was just doing
like, people
things.
would love him if he had just like inherited the throne.
Yeah, it
like,
would have been
normally.
okay. Things would have been decent. I mean, there still would have been all the bickering that would never go away, but, you know, some good things probably would have been done. But they're not in that time. They're in a time of war and upheaval. So this is Stannis' time to shine. I think that, unfortunately, Renly's going to get his butt whooped. Hopefully he won't lose his flower boy or my babe Ray.
Or Marjorie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would hate for him to lose butter.
I can't. It's Marjorie. She's much better than a stick of butter. That nickname is incomprehensible to me.
It's more because I realized that it would really, really get under your nerves.
I
just
know.
Like, Cersei.
I'm just saying this, though. Marjorie is one of the few characters in the show that I find that I really, really like.
But
and not just
phenomenal.
because like she's... I don't know. She just plays the game so well when you see her, and yet like
she
you
knows
never
exactly where she stands. There's very few people who get where they stand.
Right, and like you look at her and you know that there's more going on in her head than what she's saying, and that's the thing I think I love about Marjorie the most is like she knows how to carry herself and she knows how to not betray like anything that's going on inside. She's not like a Stark wearing her emotions on her sleeves.
Yes,
you know?
she only lets out like the one like well-fired response that like puts the other person on the defensive.
Yeah, it's a great scene with her and Littlefinger.
Yes.
So with this conversation about Marjorie, I kind of have like a half joking question for you because this episode has a couple of prominent couples in it.
Yes.
So I'm just saying, who would you give the Westeros Power Couple award to? Would you give it to Renly and Marjorie this episode? Would you give it, well, maybe not this episode, just generally. Would you give it to Renly and Marjorie? Okay. Would you give it to Jaime and Cersei? Or would you give it to Stannis and Melisandre, the Fire Priestess?
Obviously witches. Obviously shadow babies
You're taking power couple literally.
Listen, shadow babies beat incest, beat weird threesome between brothers and sister.
And, like, being a beard mistress.
Yeah, a beard mistress. Yeah, shadow babies, like, beat both of those. But I do feel like beard mistress beats Jaime and Cersei because they're really on they're not on a hot streak.
Well, I mean, Jaime and Cersei, I mean, one of them is, prisoner of war and the other one's banging the cousin. So
yeah, it's not
Not going so well for them right now. Not at all compared to where it was in season 1. They are.
Well,
yes.
I guess only Jaime is. Cersei always seems to come out on top.
Phrasing.
Obviously.
Well, let's jump across the narrow sea to continue this conversation about episode 4. Dragons. We have to talk about Daenerys in this episode. She's not in it very much, but some very significant thing happens in it.
Listen, it's like her and Arya. They only need like 2 minutes in the show to make you their favorites.
Oh, I know. Yeah. So anyway, she makes it into the city of Qarth, and she makes it in there because of basically a very charitable person who you have now aptly named Dextrous Couscous.
Yeah, he was pretty darn generous because she's just thought, like, you know, you typically don't roll an intimidate check and get someone to like you. But she did. She critted her intimidate check and he was like, I like you. This chick is cool.
So his name is Zaro Zohan Duxus.
I'm pretty sure that I was close.
I'm pretty sure that Dextrous Couscous is going to be a more memorable name anyway.
Listen.
Zara.
Nope.
Yeah, you still can't.
Nope.
So my question though for you about him is, what do you think his interest in Daenerys is?
Well, they come from a similar thing. He said he came from the Summerlands, or basically he even like calls out that he was like a savage. It's interesting. I wonder if he's looking for some sort of a power play, I do believe, because he sees it's like, okay, we're similar. She'd listen to me. I'd get her in my favor. Also, she has dragons. I think that he may just want to branch out a smidge from trading spices.
You know, it's kind of interesting, though. Like, all of them have some level of interest in her, or at least her dragons.
Yes.
So,
and if they're businessmen, there's got to be some sort of a gain.
Right. So, the way that evolves over time is going to be interesting for you, I think, to see unfold.
Well, I mean, we have, like, what, 5 to 7 people in King's Landing and things are fracked. There's 13 people here.
Right. These 13 people rule this whole city. It's kind of like a city-state on the edge of the world where they just control their little strip of nothing. But it's kind of like a trading empire, too. So it's a really interesting place, Qarth, and one that will be explored throughout the rest of Daenerys' tenure there. You'll get to see some really interesting things there. I'm excited to see how you react to there. Daenerys always seems to be doing something that's like interesting and the counterpoint to whatever's going on in like the rest of the world. So like she just was like crossing the desert and everything was terrible, but like at least she's like not getting her legs sawed off on a battlefield in the mud, you know? And like there's all this like dark stuff that's happening over in Westeros, and yet,
her story is a story of like rising. Everyone has a story of a sort of like
falling.
Boy.
Like Daenerys, I think, is the only one that you can say probably at the end of this episode is in a better place than where they started. Like maybe Tyrion is the only other one I can think of, maybe. But everybody else seems to be in a worse spot. It feels like.
Yeah, no, that's true. Or just, not the spot that they wish they would be.
Yeah. Speaking of being in places that you don't want to be, let's talk about the place Sir Devos is at the end of this episode. He's in a cave with Melisandre, and she is giving birth to a
God dang heartless.
A big shadow monster thing. I'm just curious, what did you think, like, before this moment in the show? Magic always sort of exists in a weird area in Game of Thrones. Daenerys can step into a fire and not been burned.
Yeah.
There's a weird witch / fortune teller when she's working with.
And I mean, it's like all these people on the sides, like magic doesn't take a forefront. It's not like there's like a counselor next to the king that's like, I'm your magic overseer.
Yeah. And even before then, when we see, like, as far as like magic from Melisandre, she is able to drink a glass of poison without dying,
batting an eye,
and like even
like
that sort of
vitamins for her.
it exists in a sort of like limbo state, I feel like, where it's like, okay, like, could that be magic or could it be like something else? Like, is she just a master or something?
Okay, listen, it has to be magic. No,
this is like definitely magic now.
1,000,000% magic.
So I'm curious, like, what were your impressions of Melisandre's abilities before and after that scene?
Well, I definitely knew that she had some weird magic-y, and you honestly have to wonder if she doesn't have some sort of like a hypnotic ability, like a vampire, because she just has
like she's controlling Stannis.
Yeah, like she has just this pull on people, and it's more than just like her confidence and charisma, because a lot of other people have that, but she seems pretty confident she can make anyone sway or bed anyone. I don't know. It's weird. I wish that I could see her like principles and stuff like set out so I could understand more. I feel like I would understand more if I knew like the tenets of the Lord of Light or whatever.
I mean, we are getting a fair amount of it though. Like already, like it's establishing itself as like the one true God, and
rather than the old gods and
the new gods and the seven and blah blah blah, and the god trees. You know, she seems to think that she's like tapped into like this one real thing, and since so far, you know, she might be right about that. I mean, she just gave birth to a demon shadow monster thing.
I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen there, and I don't like it.
What do you think she's capable of moving forward here?
I think she's capable of taking the goddamn throne if she so pleases.
But do you think she wants it?
No, that's the thing. I feel like
she seems pretty like sold to Stannis on this.
She's pretty sold to the shadows. Like, I feel like she's a person who would never directly act on things unless she absolutely had to. She's like a person that just like manipulates people from behind, which is terrifying because she does it so well.
So then the obvious next question then becomes, what do you think this demon monster that she just bore is up to? What do you think she is going to do with it?
I don't know. Have a rave? Who knows?
She's just going to be down there, like, you know,
raving with her demon
baby, and Devos is just going to be sitting there being
putting
like,
curses on people.
What is going on?
It's like, listen, we need more bass. You need to drop a Devos. They're doing the demon dubstep.
He's DJing. He's using his knuckles that he carries around his neck.
Knuckle bones,
to lay down a sick beat.
He's using like spoons.
Yep, there we go. He's laying down a sick beat with his knuckle bones.
Listen, they're gonna play the spooky, scary skeleton song and curse Renly.
You know, I sometimes wish that the Game of Thrones of your headcanon, Zach, would be the real Game of Thrones.
Listen, I could give you so much more headcanon, but that should be a completely different podcast. We'll do a recap. Like, what I'll do is I'll have story time with Cameron, and I'll tell him my headcanon, and then he'll have to recap it for you, and I'll be like, okay, Cameron, what happens next time? You know what happens in the books, but my headcanon is different.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to keep up.
You couldn't. I can't keep up with all of it either. You have to create a whole headcanon universe. It's difficult.
But let's move into our weekly wrap-up questions here.
Okay.
This episode, we kind of saw a decent number of Starks do some things. So let's talk about Stark of the Week here.
We almost saw everyone.
We did almost see everyone. We didn't see Jon Snow. And we did, and I mean, I guess we did see everybody. We didn't see Bran.
No Bran.
We didn't see Bran or Rickon, but we saw everybody.
Did we ever really see Rickon?
I mean, he's just sort of there in the scenery, it feels like, every time that they go back there.
Rickon rolled in this series. Zing. Anyway.
So who would you give Stark of the Week? We have, Catelyn, kind of with Renly, Sansa,
liked Catelyn
Arya.
the most, because she was the Stark that was trying to do the most things and make the most out of the, mess. Arya was great, but she was to the point where all she could do was just sort of survive.
Right.
I don't know. I just love the
so
scene.
Brutal.
I love the scene with Catelyn and Littlefinger. Like, that was just so good. Just so good on, like, an acting standpoint and just in, like, many levels.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's interesting how she understands how much she needs to do it, but she can't due to, like... It took everything she could not to just stab Littlefinger.
I know. I love that.
Another thing that you can tell, that she holds herself back.
Yeah.
And also that her devotion to her son is still there. I love that. I love that she's, like... the perfect, like, war battle mom. Right.
I also love the way that you can see her just considering, like, every option in her performance, like, the moment that like Littlefinger tells her like I had to do what I did there in King's Landing
And
because
she just
I
went through
would've
this like
died.
whole range of emotions.
Yeah, and you could
it's
see her like for a
"Whoa."
second realize it, and then no, I can't be thinking that. It's just like incredible acting.
Yes,
when you
I
watch
mean,
her do it.
I guess that the acting is also partially what makes her the Stark of the week, but even in the tactical and just sort of game playing standpoint
Right.
too.
She doesn't. I mean,
I
she
also
kind of
like
does the most moving this episode
Yeah,
too.
yeah, and I do like the fact that she like actually. I really appreciate the fact that they got Ned's remains.
Oh, okay.
I really think that was pretty cool, and we also got to see those weird like canvas wearing nuns.
Oh
again,
yeah,
which
the Silent Sisters. They're called sometimes.
I like them. I wish nuns were as like metal as they were.
Yeah, they. I think this is the biggest presence you'll ever see them have in the show, if I'm correct.
Well, yeah, because it was like first episode, and then now, so I'm like, I recognize
Because they're a really neat flavor thing about the universe, and I mean, if you read the book, it obviously is a little more explained how the seven as gods work and how what that devotion to them looks like. But they're very interesting. It's a really interesting thing to talk about, and also it becomes a much bigger part of the show as it moves on, like this whole interplay of how faith works in Westeros.
Yeah, interesting, because I also love the fact that it's not just like he cops out and has one faith. There's like multiple, and you see all different ones and how they interact. And it's like weird too, because like you're not everything's happening all at once. You got like the Melisandre and her whole Lord of Light thing, and White Walkers, and a terrible winter coming.
Well, yeah,
just like all kinds of things, and dragons
and
crazy,
and it somehow keeps all these things together. Somehow, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the question of the crown. Who would you give the crown of playing the game the best? If you had to award someone the crown this week for how well they played the game, who would you give it to? A lot of people doing a lot of really neat things. You got Tyrion kind of outsmarting people, King's Landing, Marjorie.
I really do like the Tyrion thing. Marjorie stayed status quo. Tyrion, this was like a Tyrion doing things episode. Unfortunately, people doing things episodes usually lead up with people getting backlash episodes. But I mean,
Eddard Stark much?
Stop it, my heart. You monster. I'm still bleeding from that wound. Profusely.
Anyway, so yes, who gets the crown?
I really would give it to Tyrion. He wins on a lot of levels because like he knows how to do things correctly and like the code of conduct, and like also sort of like win over the crowd, because every time he was like with a group of people, he was in the right. And Joffrey, and it's great because you can see how Joffrey knows how like utterly screwed he is and how in the wrong he is, and there's nothing he can do.
At the same time, though, that does spur Joffrey to take a rather spiteful form of revenge against him.
Yeah.
The first time I watched that scene, I was so horrified that I didn't quite understand it at first. Like I thought just like that was just Joffrey like being a sadist. Like that's how he got off. And it wasn't about that. It was about him getting back at Tyrion.
Yeah. I didn't even really get that at the time just because the scene was just so blah.
Yeah, it's just so like wrong on so many levels.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's move on to this idea of plans. A lot of people who have quite plainly stated their intention for what they're going to do moving forward. So who has the best plan moving forward? Worst plan moving forward?
Worst plan immediately. Littlefinger going there and saying, "Hey, Catelyn, I love you." That
was this episode. He kind of got over it. Now he got it out of his system, though.
No, I mean like that was immediate.
We have to remember, Zach. This question is always moving forward. We have to talk about beyond this episode.
Well,
whose plan do you think will work the best for them in the long run?
I still don't think it was he. But the thing with it is he completely botched it. It was not a bad plan. It was a good plan. But I feel it's one that's going to bite him in the butt,
Did he botch it, though? I mean, he did seem to get his point through when he dropped the box of remains there.
Okay, all right. In the words of Han Solo from the new movie, a woman always finds out, okay? She's going to know immediately if he's lying. That was a very poorly thought out plan, especially for Catelyn Stark, because she will shank him.
Okay, so who has the best plan moving forward then? Like who?
Okay.
But at the end of this episode, we have a lot of kind of lingering plans leading over. Stanley. I just combined Stannis and Renly. Gosh,
that's
Stannis.
I don't want any more incest.
Stannis and Renly have both openly declared their plans to like wage war on each other.
Yeah,
that's an ongoing plan.
That's another that's probably second to most poor choice because the more infighting there is, the more likely the Lannisters are just to sit back and be like, ho ho ho, money, 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 die.
Mm-hmm. All right, so what is the best plan?
Best plan. That's tough because a lot there aren't. Well, I definitely. Tyrion definitely found the perfect pawn.
With Lancel Lannister.
Yeah. I won't even tell you what I was going to call him.
Well, why?
Nope.
Why not?
Because I can't. I don't remember names, and I know what I was going to say was wrong. But it did start with an L, so it's all right. Anyways,
okay.
So
I'll take it.
Yeah, so I think that was one of the better thought out plans. The thing that it is I know that a lot of the plans that are being set into place don't have a lot of longevity. And the thing that it is the whole sneaking in the shadow demon baby thing. I don't really know what a plan that is, or if they just want to do that in secret, or
what's going to happen.
Yeah,
from that.
Even what that is as a plan. But as a construction plan, Tyrion's thing will definitely last him for long enough.
He's got an informant now.
Yeah, but the thing that it won't last forever. I mean, Cersei won't hesitate twice to kill that dude if she finds the true breadth and depth that he's doing the things not for her. Probably
right, even though he's family.
Yeah, well, listen,
and
we've already figured out that Cersei. Well, yeah, but Cersei's she's not like her poppy. Her poppy's the only one that's family, family, family. Always
I don't know. We'll have to watch and see how this one pans out for Tyrion. Tyrion's done a lot of moving around.
Yeah, he's been a little bit too active, which is unfortunate for him because he's been doing the good things.
He's made some enemies. He's made some friends. It's complicated.
Well, unfortunately, he's made enemies with two of the worst people we can make enemies with: his sister and his nephew.
Well, let's move on to this question of hope.
Oh
I have to ask it every week, but at the end of this episode, how hopeful are you on a scale of 1 to 10?
I was hoping we'd see some Lannister death with Bronn.
Yeah, that's true. He did threaten Sir Meryn.
Yeah, they taught them the difference between
a
lesson and a threat.
Yes.
Dang.
So how hopeful do you feel after watching this, Zach? I mean, things seem to be kind of going well until Smoke Baby.
Yeah, I'm honestly going to put us at a 50-50 shot.
So 5 out of 10?
Yeah, we're at a 5 out of 10. We're kind of at a teetering point to either things all being garbage or not. Because this is a very set-up episode because this was a lot of just things are starting to happen and then something big is going to happen.
Again, I mean
the biggest thing that happened is that Arya is now with the king of the Lannisters. And that is terrifying.
Again, we are in the sort of first half of season 2, so a lot of the remainder of season 2 will be about kind of seeing these moves that these characters have made in the first half and how they'll pan out, obviously,
and then the counters
throughout the rest of them, right?
And then season
moves
finale.
And counter moves
and counter moves.
Right. That's just what Game of Thrones is all about.
It's ridiculous.
Well, as always, Zach, it's been fun watching you watch Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
I'm having trouble talking.
There's not enough Froze in this show.
There's not.
It's unfortunate.
I mean, the last Fro we saw was from Syrio.
Stop. He's alive.
Is he?
Yes.
Is he, though?
Stop. Shh. My headcanon is real. He's wearing the Iron Man suit and killing Lannisters.
Yes, because he's the crazy Tony Stark. Fancy Tony Stark. Yes.
Yes, he's his long-lost half-brother, and they connect across the universes, and so
he found a magic portal.
Yeah, and he's going to show up in the Civil
Marvel
War,
Land.
so it's not just Captain America and Bucky fighting. It's going to be fancy Tony Stark and Tony Stark. It's going to be phenomenal. And he's going to come out there with a Lannister head on his sword, and he's going to be who's next?
Yes, basically. Well, if you have any outlandish theories like that, that you would want to share with us, you can
Marvel Game of Thrones crossover.
Someone's made this already. They had to have.
Well, I haven't looked at enough fan fiction.
I'm sure
because
they
I have
have
enough of my own.
Anyway, you can share those theories with us. You can connect with us on YouTube. Maybe you're watching this podcast even there, or on Twitter. We also have a Tumblr. You can connect with us.
Yeah, and there's even like a message function. You should do that.
Yeah, connect with us on Tumblr. We want to tumble with you.
Yeah,
Wait.
weird.
Okay,
sort of phrasing.
we still want to, but only if you want to.
Like on the
Respectfully.
Yes, they have to say yes.
Respectful tumbling.
God, what are we
Why
doing?
does this always happen?
Why are we so? I don't know. Because
I don't know.
There it goes.
Yep. We're having trouble here.
Yeah, thank you. Outro music. See, it's getting worse.
I mean, but we can make it through this, Zach. We always find a way.
Yeah. Life always finds a way.
Yep. Okay, now you're clashing with the music, Zach.
Listen, I can't help it if it can't harmonize with me.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, we'll catch you next time when we see how everything that has unfolded in this episode plays out. And you guys know what's coming ahead if you've seen it before.
Spoopy, scary demon babies.
Yes.
Yeah, may the dragons be with you.
Sure, let's go with that.